Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with Pro Wrestling Logic, and we are moving into the SmackDown review for the 22nd of May, 2020. Very rare occurrence that I'm actually around when a show airs live. Usually I watch things on stream delay, but was around when this aired live working on some other things, but able to listen and stop to physically watch matches. Anyway, um, SmackDown continues to be a show that I wonder why anybody watches. I don't understand why it's on network television. I don't understand why NXT isn't on Fox and SmackDown relegated to the network or like Telemundo or like a third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 27th rate cable network. Week by week by week, this is a horrible show. Now, that being said, there were some good matches on this show, and if we just looked at in-ring action, this is better than an average SmackDown. That's the good news. The bad news is the stuff in between makes me want to run away. That if I wasn't a diehard fan and someone who's been around WWE for 30 plus years, I would have tuned out before I even got to the matches that were good. Anyway, so they show a video honoring veterans for Memorial Day weekend, which is fine, except I'm not a fan of it for the reason that if you're a worldwide company, I don't think you should play favoritism, patriotism. I think those things should be left for maybe website pieces or whatever. Obviously, they're not played in other countries, but to me, that's not the point. You can say we appreciate veterans in commentary and not put full TV time into it. Now, I know there are going to be veterans who say this is irreverent. No, it's really not. At the end of the day, if you're a worldwide product, you have a worldwide audience to please. And if somebody happens upon the US feed on YouTube or somewhere else, it can cause potential issues to be acknowledging only one country's veterans and all this. The odds of it are 0.000000001%, but it's still a chance I'd rather not take. Anyway, they move on to the dirt sheet. Miz and Morrison out, and they're in the ring. Miz is upset at Otis, and he's upset that he's Mr. Money in the Bank. Miz is mad at Braun Strowman, and he's upset that they lost the tag match last week. And Morrison threw in a line mocking Becky Lynch for having a child, and then it quickly adds with Seth Rollins, almost like there's a pause to get people riled up if they've been following the online saga. I don't know if that was done on purpose or not, but it came across well. Braun Strowman is not who I want to see in my first segment, but he's going to be here in a minute anyway. Miz pointed out, or Morrison points out that Bray Wyatt chose puppets over the continuation of a relationship with Braun Strowman. Then they show a series of rejected puppet ideas. This is just goofy, it's stupid. Technically, since Bray is the father or the creator or the Frankenstein to these puppets, shouldn't he be upset with Miz and Morrison now? Shouldn't he be doing something about this, one would think? So Braun comes out, and he makes his way out, and he's ready to, do battle with them again, blah, blah. And he asks them about Bray, he asks about the puppets. Miz noted that dealing with Bray Wyatt nearly destroyed him. How was Braun holding up? Miz has Morrison to help him now. Morrison gets in Strowman's face and says that Miz could beat him. Miz is not happy with being volunteered, and Miz might not be as big or strong, but he could still win, is the thought here. And then we move to Miz begging off. He's trying to get Morrison to shut up. Strowman takes it as a challenge. Referee comes down to the ring. Miz was not happy about the match, and Miz and Morrison are teasing ever so little tension. Now, a couple of things here. Number one, and I'd love if somebody commented, my feed for at least half the show, and then it corrected itself for like a quarter, and then for the final quarter, there was a major delay, somewhere between 3 and 30 in some cases seconds between the audio and the video of the feed. I tried everything. I tried watching it on a mobile device. That didn't help. I tried turning my TV on and off. That didn't help. At one point, it was almost like the picture faded out for like 10 seconds and then came back and it was normal for a bit. So I don't know if there was a problem with the tape or a problem or the stream, whatever you call it now, or if there was just a problem in some markets, but this made the show really interesting to watch for all the wrong reasons. Anyway, comment below if you had viewing trouble with SmackDown on your Fox affiliate this evening. So Strowman's out there. He's fighting The Miz. Now, does anybody remember when wrestling was treated like a sport and the championship match went on last? And does anybody remember when the announcers used to hype the champion for like most of the broadcast because he was coming out last? Well, we don't do that anymore because, well, we're more worried about ratings on a show that's dying on a night that it's never going to really succeed anyway, and Friday nights. And we don't do that anymore, and we don't care that much. And anyway, no one's supposed to really care that this is treated like a sport or not anyway, because that makes us all nerds or something like that. Anyhow, Miz starts with some offense. Strowman hits power moves and hits a shoulder tackle, sends him flying with a big knee, and then Strowman goes flying over the top rope. Morrison leaps the barricade and rocks Strowman with a kick to the side of the head. Strowman tries to fight back but runs into the ring post. Miz has the advantage, but Strowman kept fighting back. Strowman then makes a comeback, tosses Miz around the ring, and really overpowers him, hits a power slam for the win. After the match, Morrison challenges Strowman to take them both on at Backlash, which is a dumb name for a pay-per-view, or a network per-view, especially when it's this far from a WrestleMania that was done in front of no people. But anyway, they challenge for a 2-on-1. So, let me get this straight. Braun Strowman, who used to be a guy that people cared about, is now the champion on the third string brand on a program that's on non-cable television, network television. The best we can do is take a guy who has been around WWE for a dozen years, put him with another guy who's been around WWE for longer than that, on and off, and left and ran away and came back. And the two of them is supposed to fight the guy that beat the guy who's in his 50s for a championship on a third-level brand. Does that sound like an awesomely marketed match or what? Wow, I didn't realize how weak the SmackDown brand comes across with the way they're portraying this. Luckily, they've made me care about Drew. I don't really care about Adam Cole on NXT, but I didn't follow his whole reign, so maybe I came late to the party and it's not clicking with me. But I care about Drew McIntyre. I do not care about Braun Strowman at all, and I'm just mortified by the whole thing. Anyhow, we then go to AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. This is good as to be expected. Now, if they had matches like this throughout the program, and even if they had maybe, started with this, it would have been a good thing. Anyhow, Styles and Nakamura are first-round match for the Intercontinental Championship tournament. They still haven't told us why Sami Zayn cannot perform, just that he can't. Styles is announced that he's officially a member of the SmackDown roster now. Very good. Should we give him a cookie? And then he's been traded for someone to be named later. They trade strikes early, go to headlocks. Nakamura tends to focus on the knee for the majority of the match. AJ Styles hits the satellite drop kick a la Bob Holly from forever ago. Beautifully done. Styles then gets in a strike battle, forearm battle with Nakamura. Styles hits an enziguri, but Nakamura recovers from it and hits a sliding German. Sliding Germans are the new thing of the day. I think I saw like 6 of them between NXT and Dynamite the other night. Overkill on moves. I guess it happens in every generation. Let's see. So then we go to a break. They're trading strikes in the center of the ring. When we get back from the break, Pele kick to regain control for Styles. Nakamura then fights back, and Styles ends up rolling through into the calf crusher, but Nakamura makes it to the ropes for the break. Near fall off a forearm for Styles, and then Michinoku driver for Nakamura, and then he sets up a Kinshasa, but Styles rolls through into a near fall. Then Nakamura ends up countering that into a triangle choke, but Styles reverses it into a Styles clash. And then that's like the third or fourth near fall in about 2.5 minutes. Styles attempts the forearm. Nakamura cuts him off. Styles fight back and hits the forearm for the win. Styles advances in the ISEE Championship tournament. Now, if anybody cared about the ISEE Championship, this would be a good thing. If this had been in the first segment to kick off the show, to make people go, oh, wrestling's athletic today, that would be a good thing. If they had set this up to where the winner of the match later in the night would be something people would care about and had been killed to death, this would be a good thing. Instead, I mean, Styles versus Braun, if you're going to go that way, if you're going to stick with Braun Strowman for whatever reason, give him to AJ Styles. AJ can get a good match out of anybody, and I think there'd be more story there. You know, AJ Styles, the pure wrestler who built a company and then came to WWE after going to Japan, and AJ built multiple companies in the last 15 years, and Braun Strowman comes along, and because he's got a big gut and bigger muscles, he's given championship matches. I mean, that story tells itself. There is no story for the Intercontinental Championship that's going to ultimately make people care on a consistent basis. Anyway, they recap the Women's Champion Bayley and Sasha Banks angle, and if we hadn't seen this 428 times already over the last several years, I might care about Sasha and Bayley going at it eventually, but I've already seen it, and I'm a person, this is just a pet peeve of mine. I don't like reruns. I don't like packages. I don't like watching something that I've seen unless it's been like years since I've seen it. And it seems like instead of years since I've seen it, it seems like when it comes to Sasha and Bayley, I've seen it for years. And that's not a good thing. Anyway, Bayley tells Sasha that she doesn't want her out there, that she wants to do this on her own. Bayley and Charlotte in a non-title match. I don't like how much they're using Charlotte. They're going to burn her out. Guarantee you'll get to 6, 8 months, 10 months, a year down the road, you're going to get to a point where no one's going to care about Charlotte because she's done everything too rapidly. Anyway, really good match, but it's a little bit long, and since we've already seen them go at it, and since Flair is all over the place everywhere, she doesn't need a showcase match. Bayley does, and I'm glad that, jumping ahead here, I'm glad that Bayley won, because at least it makes Bayley look like she can lead a division. on a program in SmackDown. Flair winning would have done nothing for Flair, but Bayley winning at least makes Bayley look legitimate, so that's a good sign. Anyway, Sasha is watching the match from the back. Flair gets an early advantage and nails a series of chops. Man, if this is what Charlotte Flair does to her friends, I'd hate to see what she does to someone she doesn't like. Bayley reverses a waist lock, but Flair nails her with a back elbow. Bayley goes for a roll up but doesn't get the pin. Referee catches Bayley trying to cheat to get the pin. Flair does the same thing but doesn't get caught. How convenient that is. Anyway, they fight around ringside and they go over the barricade. Flair grabs Cole's headset and demands Sasha Banks come out, assuming that she magically, by some osmosis, knew that Sasha would be watching, because she would have no reason to know otherwise. Then we go to a commercial break. Flair is in control with the dreaded Greco-Roman chinlock. And then Bayley kicks Flair into the ring post. Bayley takes over and puts on her Mongolian super salted ever dreaded chinlock. And then Bayley takes over. Bayley with a few cutoffs. She attempts a crossbody, but Flair catches her and hits a fallaway slam. Flair uses the turnbuckle to her advantage. Flair misses a moonsault, but nails Bayley with a boot in the face for a near fall. Bayley recovers. Bayley rolls up Flair for a near fall, and then sends her face first into the second turnbuckle. I love that these women are using the ring in a compelling way. I hate when there's opportunities to use the ring, whether it's the turnbuckle, whether it's the apron naturally, whether it's the going to the top rope, whether it's whatever, and then the opportunities are missed. I love the fact that these women know where they are well enough to use the ring appropriately. Anyway, Bayley rocks Flair with chops, but Flair mocks her and asks her to step up. And then Bayley uses a figure four. Flair's not impressed with this. Flair, with it being her move, catches her with a right hand to block her from being able to use it. Bayley then reverses a roll up and holds onto the ropes to gain the win. I love the fact that Bayley wins. I love the fact she wins by cheating. I love the fact that they didn't dwell a whole bunch on Flair managing to or being worried about getting beaten, and they move on to another segment. I could have done without the segment they moved on to, but it's a main storyline, and I guess somebody up at Titanville thinks that somebody cares about this. Anyway, we go to the mixed tag match. Sonya Deville and Dolph Ziggler, Otis and Mandy Rose. If you like mixed tags, this was fine. If you like Otis, this was enjoyable. If you like Mandy Rose, this was enjoyable. If you like Dolph, you're sad for him. If you like Sonya, this feud feels played out already. I don't know. I mean, this is just, it dragged. It was dead. Otis hits a spinning slam, and he hits a splash in the corner. And then we see the women go at it. Rose fires back. Ziggler pulls Otis off the apron. Otis then tries a power slam, but Ziggler slips over the back and pushes him into the steps. Rose jumps out of the ring to check on Otis because, well, he's never been in a fight before, except he's in a fight every week. Anyway, we go to the commercial break, and the referee almost counts Mandy out, and he's like, get in the ring. Otis is telling her, get in the ring. And she's like, no. And he's like, get in the ring. And she's like, no. And he's like, get in the ring. And he sounds like a possessed, abusive boyfriend or something. It's just, it was overkill. It was, for a tag match that no one's going to care about anyway, he certainly didn't care to see if his girlfriend could actually handle her stuff. Anyway, so the match pace slows down, and Sonya with a chin lock. They sure do love them chin locks tonight. Maybe we've gone back to 1948 instead of 2020. Anyway, and there's a series of kicks. Rose fights back and nails Sonya with a jumping knee. Otis gets in the hot tag, runs wild on Ziggler. Otis lifts Ziggler into the air and slams him down. Otis then hits a big splash in the corner. Attempts the Caterpillar, but DeVille tagged in, so Rose had to come back in. Ladies pick up where they left off, and Rose hits a running knee for near fall. The gentlemen fight around ringside. Sonya hits a running knee to the back of Rose's head for the win. So far, Mandy has not gotten even. Hopefully this leads to a singles match at Backlash and some sort of blow-off, because this angle does nothing for me. It is what it is. Anyway, post-match, Otis is checking on Mandy, and big surprise, Ziggler hits a super kick in the process. They finally, let's see, Jeff Hardy promises to defeat Sheamus for the right to advance in the Intercontinental Championship situation. They finally acknowledge the passing of Shad Gaspard. Rest in peace, Shad. For those that don't know, Shad passed away while surfing in the ocean with his son. He elected for medics to take his son. He gets pulled underwater and washes up somewhere a few days later. Sad condolences out to his friends and family. Now, my issue is this should have been the opening graphic. Forget the military stuff. Somebody who used to work for your company died. If you don't want to look like a complete bunch of bozo morons, that becomes your first priority, giving condolences. Even if you're just doing it because it's the right thing to do, that should open your program. Anyway, so, Forgotten Sons with a promo. They say they're former soldiers. No one appreciates them. They're going to beat appreciation out of people. Braun Strowman, and the handicap match is now official for the Backlash Network purview. And Renee Young interviews Miz and Morrison about it, and they promises to defeat Strowman at Backlash, which would cause problems between the two of them. Maybe one-on-one they do okay. They do a recap video of the Sheamus and Jeff Hardy feud, and all I could think about was, gee, I feel old because Jeff Hardy is looking and moving old. Match has a slow pace because, well, neither one of the Hardys can go like they used to anymore, and a lot of people have difficulty understanding why 20 some odd years later. Anyway, so Sheamus uses his power, dominating Hardy for the majority of the match, but Hardy's heart gets him through every time. That's the main story of the contest. Sheamus hits, basic strikes early, and Sheamus takes over with a back elbow. Hardy recovers and backdrops Sheamus to the floor. Hardy follows up with a sliding drop kick, which sends Sheamus into the announce table. Hardy with a crossbody off the apron. Sheamus catches him, though, and rams Hardy into the ring post, then drops him on the announcer's table. We go to break. Sheamus comes back from break. He's in control with, you guessed it, the modified, certified, bona fide chinlock. And then, we see, Hardy trying to fight up out of it. You'd think after 20 plus years he'd know how to get out of the most basic hold in wrestling. Anyway, follow up with a big knee. Hardy tries for a whisper in the wind, only gets a 1 count, which is killing the move, so good job there for whoever doesn't like finishers meaning anything. Hardy tries to fight back, but Sheamus cuts him off again with a knee to the midsection, and Sheamus hits backbreakers, nails a series of forearms to the chest. Sheamus misses a charge into the corner, and Hardy makes a comeback, hits a basement dropkick for near fall. Hardy then attempts a swanton bomb, but Sheamus got the knees up. Big surprise there. If he'd studied any footage at all, he'd know to do that, and he did. Sheamus rocks Hardy with a knee lift for yet another near fall. He tries the brogue kick, but Hardy avoided it and rolled Sheamus up for the win. The dreaded roll-up is the way we end a network television program. Jeff Hardy advances on in the tournament and takes on Daniel Bryan in the semi-final round next week. AJ Styles takes on Elias in the tournament. And as just mentioned, Daniel Bryan against Jeff Hardy. Gee, one of those matches is not like the other. And that's basically what SmackDown's going to be for next week. We will have more of the TNT series. Also, we will have coverage of AEW Double or Nothing tomorrow evening. I would rather watch that show 4 times back to back than one SmackDown for 6 months. But what are your thoughts on SmackDown? Anyway, comment below, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.